Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spread Channel. This is today's story.
Now that the plane had landed, she could finally switch her phone back on. The hours on board had been grueling, and she was overwhelmed with worry and panic. Finally, a beep sounded, and a tiny preview image popped onto her screen. At first, she didn't think much of it, but at a second glance, her stomach twisted. What she saw in that image was enough to make her want to cancel her entire work weekend and go back home. Anyone with children knows how important it is to find the right babysitter, someone capable and can be trusted. Parents also know the stress of last-minute plans popping up or falling through and all go-to-sitters being unavailable. It is usually a teeth-grinding time, which no one, parent or not, likes. For single mom Claudia Sorhando, it finally happened. It started with a job promotion. It was an unbelievable opportunity not only for her, but for a better future she could give her daughter, Ava. Claudia looked forward to the new responsibilities, but she didn't know that they would be starting sooner than expected. The phone rang, and the news put her into a panic. A single parent, she would have to fly out for an entire weekend and leave her baby girl home alone, which she had never done before. The first calls went out to the usual babysitters. However, luck was not on her side, as all of them were busy. The same happened with any family members Claudia trusted. Her phone beeped again. It was her sister. Jan says she can do it. Claudia frowned at the phone. Her niece was only 15 years old, with select habits that Claudia wasn't a fan of. The young girl might have been an option for an evening, but the idea of anything longer than that put a cold pit in the mom's stomach. She glanced at her itinerary. Did she really have a choice? The family understood the overprotectiveness this mom felt. After all, she had lost her 3-month-old, Janelle, due to a medication mix-up at the hospital. They had been the darkest days of her life. Jan wasn't her number one choice, but her sister promised that things would be okay. Her precious little girl would be in good hands. "All right," she said and ran to pack, all the while holding her daughter close and already missing her terribly. The next day her niece arrived looking bright and excited. She kissed her aunt, then squealed and hugged the baby. They weren't even on the to-do list yet, and the girl already had her phone out and was snapping photos. "Let's start with feeding," Claudia said, taking the phone away and setting it on the table. She went through the long list of instructions and emergency phone numbers. The girl listened with a large smile. "Don't worry, I'll give you lots of updates." Claudia had no idea that one of those updates would terrify her to her core. There was no more stalling. Claudia kissed little Ava on the cheek and tried to hold back the tears. She hadn't been away from her baby girl like this before, and it already hurt. Through the taxi ride to waiting in the lounge, she texted dozens of messages to her niece, who kept her in the loop about what was happening. Well, that was until the last message went unanswered. Claudia held her phone in a white knuckle grip, hoping to see new updates. She ignored the recording to turn off all devices. It wasn't until the flight attendant came directly to her and asked her to switch it off did she press the button. It would only be a few hours. What could possibly happen in that time? No amount of deep breathing, in-flight entertainment, or positive thinking helped the mom get through the agonizing flight. The worst part was the landing and moving towards the gate so they could get off. "I'm not waiting anymore," Claudia thought, and turned on her phone. A new message, finally. It was a picture. Claudia squinted at the fuzzy pink mass. The caption read, "I was making a sandwich." But it was the photo that sent her into a frantic spin. The tiny thumbnail showed her daughter covered in a pink blanket, but her legs looked deformed and swollen to twice their size. What happened? Claudia texted back in all caps. She had to force herself to rewrite the message in a normal case. She called Jan's cell. No answer. Claudia dialed again. Nothing. Her heart beat through her chest, and terrifying images flew through her mind. For a person who was always on her phone, how could her niece not answer her call now? She was hundreds of miles away and helpless. She could call only one number and pray they got there in time. Claudia hit 911. She frantically gave the details through her tears. Others on the plane noticed something was happening. Claudia cried. She needed to get off the plane quickly. The passengers parted, and she ran off the plane. It wasn't until she reached the security line that she looked at her phone again. This time, the image was loaded and clear. She slumped against the wall. "You've got to be joking," she muttered, staring at the truth. There was no deformity and no swelling. There sat Ava, happy and content within Jan's pink stretch pants, like a baby kangaroo in a mama's pouch. "What's going on?" Claudia typed. Her mind couldn't place what she was looking at and what she thought she had seen earlier. The answer made Claudia turn red with embarrassment. The young girl had wanted to make a sandwich, but didn't want to leave the baby alone, even for a second. She also couldn't find the baby holster, so she improvised. The photo was just proof to show how the 2-month-old was perfectly safe. The story then took another interesting turn. Claudia took to social media. "So, I asked my niece to babysit baby Ava. Later, I received a text saying that Jan wanted to make a sandwich, but didn't want to let baby Ava out of her sight. Lord, send help because this was her solution creativity at its finest." She detailed her niece's ingenuity, not knowing the post would explode. It was shared more than 300,000 times and received just as many likes and comments. People chimed in on how they wish they had thought of that with their own babies. "Brilliant. I carried my babies around on my hip in the 70s. I wish I had thought of this." It also gave Jan a potentially lucrative idea. The new business idea would be called Chapants. There were even ideas on being able to convert maternity pants for extended use. Everyone loved the idea, and Jan already had a huge supporter, Claudia. The grateful mom went as far as starting a GoFundMe page so the business idea could get a boost. Pledges have slowly trickled in. However, regardless of the financial outcome, the family has something more valuable. Claudia has another trusted babysitter, the family is closer than ever, and they have an amusing story to tell for years to come.
And remember, here at Spread Channel, we are not just telling a story, we are trying to change lives. So please consider subscribing for more daily content. Thank you for watching and see you soon.